You just apparently like bad things.
Hey,
Explains why you hang out with Brock McLaughlin all the time. What is up, everybody, and welcome to another special episode of Nintendo Talk. I am Bobby, the Nintendo Guru, joined this week by the amazing Ryan Turford. What is up, man? How you doing?
Oh my God, you called me amazing. I feel so special.
You are amazing, man. Come on.
Oh my God, I feel so touched. Thank you for having me on the show, by the way.
Absolutely.
So hyped to talk about E3 because I love E3. It's the best time of year, man.
It's pretty spectacular. Not gonna lie, it's pretty spectacular. For those that don't know who you are, please explain like what you do on the interwebs and all that stuff. And so,
sure.
Go ahead.
So you can find me over on the Game Moose podcast. We record usually once a month. You can find us on Twitter at game_moose_cast. Also our website, game-moose.com, where we post articles and videos soon and other things. So look out for that stuff on game-moose.com. Also, you can hit me up on Twitter anytime at Ryan Turford. That's TURFORD, because everyone always asks.
It's the guy is very knowledgeable and very the problem is when you bring a guy like Brock McLaughlin into the fold, the guy just shines with his gorgeous face. You know what I mean?
It's true.
So you look at him, it's just
tough
like
to look away.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, come on now. So, last year at E3, I was there, and I just never got a chance to hook up with Brock. And then I heard this year Sean's going, and I'm like, hey man, are you gonna meet up with Brock? And he's like, nah man, him and Brock's not going this year. And I'm like, what? Like, what's going on? Like, is he losing his touch? Is he losing,
To be fair, I've been talking to a lot of people, and I don't know too many people that are going to E3 this year, because I know Sean is going, but
this year's a down year, man.
Yeah, I thought about going myself, but when I factored in travel costs and stuff like that, it just made more sense to cover the show here, because I'll actually be live streaming the whole week, which you can find more on my Twitter feed about that. But yeah, for me, we've done that the last couple of years, and I think that kind of makes sense, especially this year.
Yeah.
Next year, though, I think if Nintendo and Microsoft are there, I think it would be awesome to go, especially because the new Xbox will be coming out next year. Mm-hmm. We'll have new hardware to play with, so I think that will be the year really to get people to go. It's just a matter of, will E3 exist next year? Hopefully.
It's crazy, right?
So.
It's last
I can't
year,
believe that's even a question we're even asking at this point.
It's nuts, man. It's totally nuts. It's funny because when Nintendo started to back away from the press conferences, people were like, oh, they're stupid, they're crazy, blah, blah. And then Sony's just like, we're not going at all. And people are like, what? But anyway, last year when I went, it did feel a little weird not to be live streaming any of it.
Yeah.
Years past, Sean and I had always done the Microsoft stuff and the Sony stuff. So this year's a little different because it's just it is, you know what I mean? But I'm hoping to, knock on wood, I will be able to take the conference off. Mm-hmm. At first, I was going to take the whole day, and then I was going to do the conference, and then I was going to just watch the Treehouse Live, and then that kind of got disheveled a little bit. And now I don't even know if I can get the conference off. So I'm like, oh, this is killing me. So I'll find out next week whether I got it or not. I'm hoping so, because it would really stink not to be able to do the Nintendo conference. But whatever. It is what it is. So, but anyway, here's what we're doing. I've been bringing on guests and having them basically give their predictions for Nintendo's E3 and then kind of have a conversation with it and break it down and all that stuff. It's been so much fun. And to me, it's been a little bit different than what most people do. Most people just get a bunch of people in a room, and they all fire off their predictions.
You mean like what we do on Game Moose?
Well, I mean, I've done it in the past. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of people do that. But I felt like this was a little different angle. Mm-hmm. And I felt like this was more fun, for me anyway, to bring someone on, get their predictions, and then kind of dissect it. Because I was saying this to Sean last night. I said, the cool thing is most of the times, when you're a person listening, to these predictions getting fired off. You're sitting there talking to the phone or however you're listening, and you're going like, no way, no way. It's gonna be like, and now I get to do that like live, so it's kind of fun for me, you know. So with that, Ryan, why don't you give me your first Nintendo prediction for E3?
All right, now Bobby, I cheated a little bit with my first prediction
boy,
because no, there's a reason why. So I didn't want to be boring and have 5 predictions that are just dates or times to expect things.
Okay.
Because I mean, for the most part, we know what the big major titles are for the most part.
Yeah.
So I mean, rather than having individual predictions for those release dates, I'm wrapping them up in one prediction. So,
okay.
So here's my first prediction.
Okay.
Here are the release dates, and not just the month, Bobby. I'm giving you the exact date.
Oh my God, this guy.
Assuming Nintendo keeps up with the fact that they're releasing games on Friday.
Okay,
Because you never know.
They've always done that. So, well, in the life of the Switch, they've always done that.
Yeah.
At one point, I remember them doing Sundays, but this was back in the Wii era. Yeah. So, all right, go ahead.
Here's how the rundown. So, Link's Awakening, I think, is going to come out first of the 4 big ones. September 13th. I have it marked down for September 13th. The reason why, number one, that's around the same time that I believe Skyward Sword launched.
Okay.
But number 2, that gets them ahead of the other 3 games that we're going to talk about in a second, because it was either this or December 6th, the December 6th time slot, that the Smash Brothers with Xenoblade Chronicles time slot, which I have slotted for a different game, and I'll explain why in a second. So next up, Luigi's Mansion, I think, will come next. October 25th, I marked down for that one, because I mean that's around when Dark Moon came out. It kind of makes sense. It's a spooky game. Halloween's the next week. Halloween's not on a Friday, so this makes the most sense. Pokemon Sword and Shield, I have down for November 15th, because Pokemon launches in November every year.
That's a gimme, right?
And that's provided they give Pokemon's release date, because the Pokemon Company, who knows, right?
Yeah.
And then the last one, the one that you are probably the most excited about, Bobby, I think, Animal Crossing Switch, I have down for the December 6th release date.
Okay.
The reason why is because Animal Crossing, like Smash, is the type of game where they really could release it at any time. Especially, it's the type of game you want to buy for someone for the holidays. So it makes sense to have that be in that time slot over something like Link's Awakening, I think. That's just how I look at the situation. Because like Link's Awakening is going to be kind of like their big fall release besides Pokemon. So I think that getting Link's Awakening out before, especially since it's a remake, before Call of Duty and the other big console games launch, I think is going to serve it better than Animal Crossing. Because again, Animal Crossing is the type of game where I think they could release it in May and it'd be totally fine. It would probably sell the same amount of copies.
See, in my mind, I have it flipped. I have everything exactly like you have it, except for I have the 2 bookends flipped. And my reasoning is that as an Animal Crossing player, playing an Animal Crossing game in the dead of winter is horrible. At least if you can build up to it, it's kind of exciting. And I feel like this is a a game that'll sell consoles. So giving it a nice leeway up is a better thing for me, because I think here's what happens. It gives you the ability to move consoles, especially if they put out special edition consoles for it.
Which they will, of course.
Oh, yeah, of course. And you'll be able to move those, and then hit November, December, and the game's already out, and people that get Christmas presents, they'll be able to double dip, kind of, and Nintendo will be able to sell again to those people. I feel like I feel like Zelda could get dropped anywhere, especially that version of Zelda, and it'll sell no matter what, because the hardcore will eat it up. So I think that, I'm not saying you're wrong, but I think that for me personally, on a personal level, I would rather them flip, just because, one, I want Animal Crossing so badly.
That's true.
And two, the only other thing that makes me think it was the leak that hasn't been disproven yet. And the leak was from, I believe, a Germany store that actually, was taking... Because normally when they have placeholders for a game is the end of the year.
Yeah, or like whatever the Q1 date is, like September 30th or
Yes.
something.
This was so specific of a date that I feel like part of me just feels like it can't be wrong. Like, there's no way that could be like how do you just throw that specific date out? Lands on a Friday. How is that just so?
Yeah.
So for me, that's what I kind of think.
And to be fair, I kind of hemmed and hawed about when I was putting this together as to which one of them, because at first I kind of thought the same way as well. And maybe it's just that I just don't know the Animal Crossing franchise as well as you do, Bobby.
And that's
because
fine.
as we discussed on Twitter, I just played my first Animal Crossing game 2 days ago. So
Okay, so real quickly before we move forward, what did you think?
I mean, so far I liked the 5 hours I spent with it because I didn't stop playing for those 5 hours. I just kept playing because I couldn't put the controller down.
And you're playing the GameCube version, correct?
I'm playing the GameCube version, yeah. Yeah.
Such a good one. Yeah. Such a good one.
I mean,
wait till you get into the thing of like, it's a shame you can't like that has a virtual console built into it.
It does, yeah.
And if you could get into those games, like, oh, that's good stuff.
It's fine if I put like 40 more hours into it. I'm sure I'll unlock everything. It'll be awesome.
I don't know about unlocking everything, dude. Well, you could put hundreds of hours in and still not unlock everything.
Life finds a way.
Trust me.
That's what I was saying.
I think there was somebody that took, if I'm not mistaken, I read an article a few years ago that someone got every single item in the original GameCube, and it took him like 7-8 years, something like that.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's no joke. Like, there's so much stuff in this game.
That's a lot of stuff.
It's a lot of stuff. They have t-shirts. This is crazy. In that game, on New Year's Eve, they give you a t-shirt for the year. They have t-shirts for 2035 or something like that, which means you have to time travel to every single one. You have to go in, change the eternal clock, go back, play, get the shirt, reset. No.
But if I do that, Mr. Reset will yell at me and I'll be sad.
Exactly.
I don't want him to do that because he's always angry. And I don't like it when he's angry.
He's always angry.
Now
he's like David Banner. Bruce Banner.
Here's the thing. Yeah. I'm gonna segue into this nicely because this prediction's not over, Bobby.
Okay.
There's one other game we know about, but we haven't heard a thing about it that I think is coming out this year, and it will probably have a release date either this week or before E3. It's just because of when we're recording this.
Yeah.
This is coming. So Hideki Kamiya, the director of Bayonetta 3, tweeted on Friday that we are going to be getting new information about Bayonetta 3 this week. Now, as someone who's followed Platinum Games for a long time, I know for a fact that they don't like to show their games until they're ready and pretty close to coming out. We saw that with the Astral Chain, for example, which basically got announced and then we had a release date pretty much right away.
Yeah.
So I'm anticipating that we're going to get a release date for Bayonetta 3 because it sounds like I think this game's ready to go November 22nd.
But
I'm calling it.
But wait a minute. Let's also be fair. He's the biggest troll on the internet.
You're not wrong about that.
Exactly.
But that's why I'm going out on a limb here.
Okay.
I'm probably wrong.
Okay.
But I want it to happen because just like Animal Crossing for you, I really want Bayonetta 3 because I'm so hyped for that game.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling in my gut, Bobby, that this game is coming out this year. Awesome. Something's telling me it's happening.
I wouldn't be upset if it did. I'm not gonna lie. Like I would be like, oh, that's pretty. That's pretty spectacular if it did.
Now, mind you, this is coming from the same person who predicted Metroid Prime 4 would come out last year. So take whatever I say with a grain of salt.
Well, to be fair, you know what I mean? Like, let's be fair. I don't think anybody saw that delay happening. Like, nobody saw that delay coming. I definitely didn't see that delay coming. It just blew me, set me for a loop. It's something that just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, like I just woke up one day and it was there.
Yeah, and it was just like... And I think people really thought, like, hey, we're getting some Metroid news, and then it was boom. And it was like, whoa, what happened?
We got Metroid news, all right. It just was the wrong news.
I was telling Sean last night, I don't know if you heard, I had Josh Thomas from the Bit Block on a couple episodes, and he says during the episode, how bad was that Metroid game? How bad could that game have been that they actually put out Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival. That got the seal of approval.
They also released Metroid Prime Federation Force. So.
Yeah, but I mean, like, that's how bad this game must have been to not even, we're reworking it, we're changing it. No, we're just starting over from scratch.
Now, here's an interesting conundrum, though. Which was in a worse state, Metroid Prime 4 or Final Fantasy VII Remake before they gutted that team?
Ooh, man. That's dude, that Metroid, that Final Fantasy VII is another train wreck waiting to happen. It's like Square can't make a game anymore. They can do the little ones, you know what I mean? They can bang them out, but these big games, it's like they don't know what they're doing anymore. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Ryan, what's your second prediction?
All right, so my second prediction is a good thing you talked about leaks before, Bobby, because this one's all about leaks. So
okay.
I am in the camp, and there's two camps on this subject. Mm-hmm. I am in the camp that believes the Smash Brothers leak that we got is 100% correct. So
I didn't. Okay. Hold on. I didn't hear about a leak for Smash Brothers. Is it character related?
Yeah.
All right. So I don't want to hear about it.
The 4 additional characters.
Oh, I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear about none of that stuff. So we'll hold off. We'll hold off on that one. But here's the thing. How many characters do you think we hear about at E3? 2. And how do you feel like they're going to be presented to us?
I think that there, in the middle of the Direct, there will be a section kind of like they did with Ryu and Roy when they introduced them at E3 for Smash Wii U, where it'll just be a little segment saying, by the way, these 2 characters are coming. Like, there'll be a character introduction video for them. It won't go into too much detail because they'll do the details on Treehouse, because I'm sure that they'll play that at some point pretty close to when the conference is over. But I think that they're going to definitely show off at least like them fighting in their stage and just very bare bones material about them other than the release window, where I think the 2 characters are going to release sometime in August. That's what I'm saying.
So, do you feel like anything gets announced during the tournament?
It's possible. Seeing how they released the details for the DLC characters for the Wii U version is kind of informing my predictions here. Because I think they're going to probably go the similar route where they announce them during the conference. Okay.
I mean, it would make sense. Well, you got to remember, the one year... Wait. The one year when they did Ryu, they did it before the conference. They did a special Direct like days before. There was just a Smash Direct.
Yeah, you're right. I think I'm remembering it wrong.
Yeah, they did a totally different, separate thing because people were pissed. They were like, why didn't they save this for the Direct? Because people didn't like the Direct that year. And they were like, this doesn't make sense. Why would they do stuff? They did that and they did a Pokemon Direct days before the actual thing. Hopefully they learned their lesson, because that's
it doesn't matter. I still think, regardless of when they announce them during E3, we'll hear about 2 that are coming this August.
I believe so too. And the way I'm sorry to cut you off. The way that I feel it's going to happen is we'll get one during the tournament and then one during the actual Direct.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good. That's probably works out better than them just announcing both at the same time.
Yeah.
Because they could even lead the Direct with one.
Yeah.
And then have the other one at the end of the tournament or whatever.
Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense, honestly. It would be kind of cool, you know what I mean?
Especially because they got to get all those characters out at some point before the end of the year. That's kind of what they were targeting anyways. So I would assume they'll announce 2 that'll come out the same day, like day and date with each other.
Yeah.
And then we'll have another Direct, like a mini Direct later in the year for the remaining 2. Because we still got 4 more to go.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to get 4 by February. They have to have 4. So I think they have to do 2 at E3 because they got to get them, you know what I mean? They kind of got to get a whole... And I kind of feel like we get an announcement of one and we get a shadow drop that day of that one, and then the next one will come later in the year, like maybe September, and then right around that time they'll announce the next one, and then that one will probably launch in February sometime. So let me ask you a question. Do you, on your list, do you have Amiibo predicted on that list?
Well, I mean, I don't have any Amiibo specific predictions because I'm assuming the 2 Smash Brother characters I think they'll announce will have Amiibo tied to them anyways.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Do you think we get? I mean, it's obvious we'll get Amiibo for that.
Right.
I mean, is it a no-brainer? You feel like we get another wave of like different characters?
I'm trying to think because of what characters they haven't released yet. Because I know they've been doing the remaining characters in waves.
Yeah.
And I haven't been keeping up with Amiibo lately, so I don't know off the top of my head which ones aren't out yet.
Well, Simon Belmont's not out, but he's been announced.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to say because they've been doing a pretty good job of getting them out.
Because even I think most of the other new characters besides the two Belmonts are out already. Because Ridley's out, K. Rool's out.
But I'm thinking Richter Belmont, I don't think got a date yet.
Yeah.
I know that Simon
Piranha
did.
Plant's out, so I'm trying to think
quick.
of like what. Yeah. Also, Joker's Amiibo. Maybe we'll hear about when Joker's Amiibo's coming.
Yeah, Joker's got to come out. It's interesting, man. It's such an interesting thing with the Amiibo that are coming out, and it's like, I mean, do you think? Here's a question for you: do you feel like we get any other Amiibo for any other games, or is it just going to be Smash?
I think there will be another line of Zelda Amiibo this year with Link's Awakening.
That would be
I mean,
awesome.
I could see that. I mean, Animal Crossing, the Amiibo failed so miserably for Animal Crossing before that I'm hesitant to say that there will be another line of Amiibo, but you never know.
Well, the thing too, to be fair with that was also attached to a horrible game.
Yeah.
You know,
they also made like way too many of them, I think.
Way too many. And they kind of got themselves jammed up where I think they felt like people, Animal Crossing fans, would just buy these to buy them. They put it with a game that had no business getting Amiibo. And because of all the Smash, and people were just like, why don't you put out enough? I think Nintendo was like, okay, we're going to flood you with these and make sure you have enough. And it just was the wrong time.
Yeah, because like when they came out, that was when it was so hard to find the Smash Amiibo.
Yeah.
Because they're like some of them are just the only toys of some of Nintendo's most iconic characters. So
absolutely.
People just wanted to gobble them up, including me, because I have most of the waves up to basically the Ultimate line essentially. I think I'm only missing Wii U Trainer. I think is the only Wii Trainer for the first set, and then I bought Ridley. When Ridley came out, but I haven't bought any of the new ones they released since then. Just because I'm kind of off the Amiibo train now, because I was collecting them with a friend of mine for a while, and then we just fell off the Amiibo bandwagon. Mainly because I live in a tiny place.
Not me, man. I'm still going strong. I got all the next wave pre-ordered. I'm like a nut. It's just out of control.
Now, to be fair, I'm definitely buying the Joker one because we talked about it off air. I really love Persona, so I got to get the Joker one. And then for the Smash DLC characters that I think we're gonna get, like, they're characters I'm probably gonna want Amiibos for too. Yeah, because I like the characters.
Belmont. Yeah.
So, and even like Simon Belmont, I'm gonna want that one too because I love Castlevania.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What is your third prediction, sir?
All right, so this is where we're going to start getting into crazy territory, Bobby.
Oh boy!
In fact, get hyped for my last prediction because it's really crazy. So, my third one. So after multiple teases that we got from the Bravely Default Twitter account back in 2017 and 2018, of basically they just kept tweeting of like screenshots of them like playing the game on the Switch, or like the one image after Octopath Traveler sold 1 million units of the celebratory image in reverse with Fairy's shadow along the wall. I think we're finally going to see at E3 the return of the Bravely series in some capacity.
Okay.
Whether it's a collection of the two DS games, or Bravely Default 3, or both. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of unsure about. I think that it'll probably be a collection, and then if that does well, then we'll get a third game. But I do think we're at least going to get something because they've been teasing this for a while now. Like pretty much ever since the Switch launched, they've been like the developers have been teasing this. Yeah. So I would assume that it's going to come out eventually, and Square has their own conference. So even if they announce it at the Square conference, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure about it.
Okay, so let's break this down for a minute. Were you a fan of the first Bravely Default?
I was until the halfway point that everyone always gets to, and then realizes that the game falls off for them.
Yeah,
which I will not spoil for anyone who's not played.
I know. Same thing for me. What about the second one? Did you play that one?
I did. I liked it more because it didn't run into the same issue.
Okay.
but they made some subtle tweaks to it that I wasn't a huge fan of either. But that's why I'm so excited for a third game, because I think that they're going to take the lessons they've learned from both, because they were definitely much closer with the second game than they were with the first game to like a really solid overall product. So I think that whatever they do next will be awesome, or at least I'm assuming. I'm hoping so.
It's crazy because I love the first one so much, and then it hit that point, and I was just like, "What just happened?" No. And then I just stopped playing. I'm like, no, I'm not doing this.
I did grind it out and eventually finished it, but it was a slog. It was definitely a slog at the end.
And then Sean got the second one. He loved the first one as well. We both loved the first one. He got the second one, and he was not liking it at all. And I was just like, I really would have spent the money to go get the second one and then run the risk of not liking it. So I just backed out of it.
Yeah, I think the second one was definitely much more divisive, for sure. That was the feedback I got from other people that I talked to about it.
Yeah. Okay, so your prediction is Square or Nintendo during the Direct announces. Okay, here's a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like Bravely Default will go multi-platform, or will it stay a Nintendo exclusive?
I think it will stay a Nintendo exclusive.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure of it. Kind of like Octopath Traveler, even though it's coming to PC, it's not coming to any other consoles.
Yeah.
And maybe we see it like Bravely on PC as well, but I don't think so. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a Nintendo franchise. Kind of like the Shin Megami Tensei franchise is Nintendo exclusive, even though it doesn't need to be. It just is, because it's kind of a holdover from the DS and 3DS days. And I think they're going to apply the same logic here. But it's Square Enix, so who knows? Who knows what they have planned? But of course, being a huge Square Enix fan, I had to at least have a Square Enix prediction.
I don't blame you. The problem for me with Square Enix is I'm not as big a fan of the new Square Enix as I am the old Square Enix. Growing up, they were my favorite company, one of my favorite companies, one of my favorite third-party companies for Nintendo, and after 7, I started to slowly dwindle from them. And now it's to the point where it's like I don't even recognize games. Like I don't feel like Final Fantasy 15 was a true Final Fantasy game.
Yeah.
I feel like it was more like Monster Hunter Xenoblade Chronicles type game, which my feeling is if you want to make that game, fine. Don't make it a Final Fantasy game. Make a Final Fantasy game and take that chemistry that you want to do and take it off and do a different franchise.
Yeah.
Like I feel like when you hit so far along of you're 15 games in, now's not the time to change everything up. I know that the problem with that was they ran into development hell like they are with Final Fantasy VII Remake, and they just had to do something and get it out. They changed directors, they changed teams, so I get why they did what they did, but I just wasn't a fan of the...
Yeah, and I'm in the same boat as you, where I definitely felt that way about 15 as well. Like, not only that, but with Nomura heading the project, like all the stuff I didn't like about Kingdom Hearts made its way into that game as well. So that it was tough to play that, but which is funny when I think about it, because probably the best Final Fantasy experience we've had since 10 is Final Fantasy 14, the MMO, because I play that a lot because I play a lot of MMOs. Mm-hmm. The story campaign in that is like probably the best Final Fantasy story of any game since Final Fantasy VI. That's what I'm on record saying multiple times. And they kind of tell a new story with each expansion. So it's really interesting how they take like the narrative focus they had from those older Final Fantasy games and apply that to a massively multiplayer game that you can just play by yourself if you want to. You don't have to play with other people if you don't want to, which is cool. But yeah, ever since Final Fantasy X, they've really tried to do new things with it again. I'm like, can you guys stop doing that and just kind of go back to kind of turn-based combat and stuff? It worked for Persona, so I kind of wish they would do that. But I mean, we have Octopath Traveler as well, which is them basically flexing that muscle again. Mm-hmm. And we have Ononaki coming out, which is the new game from the I Am Setsuna Studio Tokyo RPG Factory, which I'm really excited about. Although Lost Sphere from them 2 years ago,
was rough.
Kind of disappointed me. It was hit or miss. But I Am Setsuna, I love that game, so I'm really excited for Ononaki because it looks awesome.
Yeah, I Am Setsuna was a really good game. It really brought me back. I would love to see them also bring Secret of Mana, the remake, to the Switch.
I just want the second Densetsu collection that they only released in Japan to freaking come out here because I want second Densetsu 3 finally to be here translated.
But that's what I was going to say. The game that they have in Japan, it's a Japanese version. It's not an Asian version, right?
Yeah.
Because the Asian versions are translated. You can buy them and play them.
Yeah. That collection specifically has not been translated because, again, there's one game on the collection, which is Second Densetsu 3 or Secret of Mana 2, that has never been translated other than fan translations. It's kind of like Mother 3. It's in the same boat. Which is why, like, I've heard the developers talk about it many times, saying that they're not going to go back and do that and translate it because apparently the amount of work that would go into it would just be too cost intensive for them to do that, which kind of bums me out.
The thing is, see, this is the thing I don't understand. The same thing with Nintendo too. If you have a fan translation, how hard is it? Obviously, number one, to get that fan translation, right? Give it to your team to just go, like an editor. Just go through it, edit it, make sure it's what's supposed to be. The translations are true to what they're supposed to be, and then go throw some money at the people. And just go, hey, we'll give you a credit line, like we'll put a credit in here, and we'll give you 1% of our sales.
Yeah.
You're telling me that if I took my time to translate a game just to get it out there, and Nintendo comes to me and says, we'll put your name in the credits, thanking you, and by the way, we'll also give you 1% of the sales? Are you crazy? Dude,
Bobby, you're being too rational with this. I'm just, you got to stop. You're too rational. You're thinking too much.
I know.
I mean, this is Square Enix we're talking about here.
Well, even Nintendo with Mother 3, it's like, come on, man. It's already done. The translations are done. All you got to do is just check them to make sure they're true to form, because there can be some, mistranslations. We get that. Make sure they're on the up and up, and then make it happen. Like, I don't get it.
I mean, if you would have told me 5 years ago we would have had a localized version of Kid Dracula from Konami before we had Mother 3 or Second Densetsu 3, I would have told you were crazy.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Kid Dracula, it's a hell of a game, Bobby.
You really like that game?
It's okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say it doesn't.
I mean, to be fair, it's not the worst game in that collection. The Castlevania Adventure, the first Game Boy game, is the worst game in that collection.
Oh yeah, that's a bad one. All right, what are we up to? Number 4?
Number 4.
Okay,
so
let's see what you got.
Even crazier than that. Pikmin 4 and Star Fox Grand Prix will be announced, but they won't have a release date given, or if they do, it'll be 2020. Kind of like them teasing what's happening next year, but not going too much into detail about it. Kind of like what they done the last 2 years with their directs. I was really racking my brain thinking about what games they would announce next. And I mean, we've been hearing about Star Fox Grand Prix for forever now. I mean, that game's got to come out at some point, I'm assuming, especially with Retro transitioning to Metroid Prime 4. Like, I'm assuming that game's close to being done, or like in the QA stage. So it's got to be coming out at some point. And then Pikmin 4, it's a game that we've heard about in the same way forever. Like Miyamoto said 3 years ago, that game is done. So I think that's those are the two games I think we're going to hear about that are for next year. And they'll be like light teases, like basically just announcing, hey, by the way, this is happening. So get excited about it.
Okay. So
God, here we go.
No, listen, I get these. This happens all the time because people believe that Star Fox Grand Prix is a thing. If nothing from Retro gets announced this year, I plan to come out with what I've heard with the whole Retro thing.
Ooh, I smell dirt.
I do not believe, from what I've heard, there is anything made. There is nothing there. It's wants and wishes. I believe that the rumors of this Grand Prix was somebody heard about the Ubisoft one and just assumed things. Yeah. misread the tea leaves. It's hard. It's hard for me without saying what I know to say, but I just really, in my gut, in my heart, feel like there's nothing there, and people should not get their expectations up at all for anything from Retro at all from this E3, the next E3, until Metroid comes out.
Yeah, because I'm assuming that if it's not announced here, you're absolutely right, and it doesn't exist.
Yeah,
because if it exists in any way, they will talk about it this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why I said this is crazy, because of these two games that I mentioned, it's the one that's definitely the most unlikely.
Yeah.
Because again, I think Pikmin 4, it makes sense for them to come out with a new Pikmin game.
Yeah.
People want a new Pikmin game.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to do it. Like, this is the time where they'll at least announce.
Pikmin 4, I feel you're pretty dead on. I think your whole assessment of Pikmin 4, I think you're dead on. Miyamoto teased it a few years ago, and people were just like, oh, that's the Hey Pikmin game. And Nintendo actually came out and said, no, we weren't talking about that one.
Yeah.
So it's done, but they also said they had to work on other things that were more important. And I believe that was the Switch launch. They need to focus on the Switch. Pikmin 4, Pikmin 3, Pikmin 2, 1, they're not system sellers.
Yeah.
They are really good games. They have a rabid fan base, but they are not system sellers. So if that game is done, I can absolutely see Nintendo going like, okay, let's put a pin in it. Let's hold on. We're not going to put it on the Wii U because the Wii U doesn't, it's pointless. And then we'll do something. I would love to get a collection of 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Because those games are spectacular. Those games are really... I love 3. 3 is the first one that I played to completion. Okay. But that music, that everything, that ambiance, that game was so good. So good. And everything about that game was just perfection. The way it looked, the way it played, it was just so amazing. And it was so relaxing. Like, you play the game and you're just kind of chilling out. And the music and the tone was just perfect. So I would love a Pikmin 4 in 2020. I know that Nintendo came out and said, hey, we're talking about 2019 in this direct. Yeah. But you got to give us something for 2020.
They literally said that last year, though, and we got teases for things this year.
Yeah, but it was it was basically just teases, and that's all I need. I just need to know, like, hey, this is coming next year. Here you go. Get excited. That's all I need.
I kind of look like what they're going to do with this, what they did with Yoshi's Crafted World, or Kirby's Kirby Star Allies when they teased those games at E3. Like, that's all I'm really expecting from this. Yeah. I'm assuming just a small tease saying, all right, you guys can shut up. This is actually happening.
Well, we have a stacked... I mean, when you think about it, this year is a stacked year. Yeah. We know almost everything that's coming.
Absolutely.
We just don't know the details on a couple of the games, but we know every game that's coming the rest of the year.
Yeah.
We can almost, as you did at the beginning of the show, pinpoint exactly when these launch dates are going to hit. So, to me, E3 is about a couple of surprises. They got to have something for us. It would make no sense whatsoever to have nothing at all. So, we'll see.
Because otherwise, they could just detail that stuff on Treehouse or anything else.
Exactly.
They wouldn't have to have like a long direct. But it sounds like from when they announced the times that this is going to be a long direct. So I would assume they have lots to talk about beyond the 4 big ones.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm going kind of crazy with these, because I had a lot of other ideas of things that they could announce, but I think that these are, at least Pikmin 4 is probably the most likely one, and same with Bravely Default. So my last prediction, Bobby.
Here we go.
Get ready for really crazy, okay?
Oh boy.
All right. So Microsoft will have a trio of announcements either during the Direct or on Microsoft's stage, or both, because there's multiple announcements here. Xbox Game Pass will come to Nintendo Switch in late September. Ori and the Blind Forest, Ori and the Will of the Wisp, and Forza Street, which we've heard a little bit about, will be announced for Switch. All 3 will be day and date with the launch of Game Pass and included, along with undisclosed titles. I'm assuming they'll also add Cuphead, Minecraft, as well as they'll probably add some third-party games, kind of like what we see on Xbox, where it's not all Microsoft first-party games. It'll be a subscription service that you pay for. and that's it. You'll have access to these games when they launch day and date, because we know that partnership is strong.
Yeah.
And we've been hearing about Ori forever.
Yeah.
I mean, plus there were actually quite a few rumors last year about Game Pass coming to Switch. So I think that at the very least we'll get those games announced that I mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to be really crazy like me, Game Pass coming to Switch, it's happening. Mark it on your calendars, because I think they'll also announce that at the same time, Game Pass I think is also coming to PC as well. Probably around the same time, because they haven't announced that either. But I think that they'll make that one announcement where Game Pass will come to both consoles, like both PC and Switch.
Yeah. Man, I like the rumor, or I like the prediction. I really do. I feel like a couple of games as well that would be on Game Pass would be Rare Replay, because I think that's coming. And I think that Lucky's Tale or whatever?
Super Lucky's Tale.
I think that
because we heard about that one forever too.
Yeah, I think that could show. And what was the other one? It was the Zelda-like game with Fox.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about, but I'm blanking on the name.
Yeah, it was last year.
Yeah, because they kept showing it off.
Yeah, last year was like the big announcement of it. I have a feeling that hits Switch. I have a feeling that comes to Switch.
It makes so much sense. It's such a Nintendo-esque game. Yes. That just happens to be on Xbox.
Yeah, and I think Xbox is in the. They've finally been to the point. They finally got to the point where they're just like, we just want to make money. We don't care what it takes. We don't care what happens. Let's just make money. If we got games that we can put on other consoles and it sells and we make money for doing nothing, why not do it? I think that the one thing that they learned during the Xbox One era was putting a game exclusively on their console did not translate into money at all. I think Tomb Raider was a prime example of that. So I feel like that Microsoft is looking at this as like, hey, if we can put Hellblade, if we can put, Cuphead on multiple places and just watch it take off, absolutely. And I think what they're looking at it, I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't see like Halo and Gears showing up anytime. Well, first of all, I don't think they can run on the Switch. But
I was gonna say, I think that would be the biggest problem, especially because Halo, I really do believe that's going to be a Scarlet launch title.
Yeah,
it'll be on both consoles.
Yeah, I do too. But I also feel like whatever Nintendo's next iteration of the Switch, I believe it'll be powerful enough and it'll get them closer to where they need to be. Mm-hmm. I feel like it would probably be. I feel like the next Switch probably moves into the Xbox One, PlayStation 4, the Pro and X models. It gets it closer to that version. So that way, then we start seeing more games that were on, PS4 and all that coming over. Like, because that's the one thing. Like, when a game gets announced we go back and we look at games, we're like, well, it ran on PS3. Like right now, right? The prime example is DC Universe Online. It's coming to the Switch this summer, and it's like, well, it ran on PS3. Why couldn't it run on Switch?
I still can't believe to this day Grand Theft Auto 5 hasn't come to Switch yet.
That blows me away.
Especially because that was on PS3 and Xbox 360. Like,
yes. How? I don't get it. And like Rockstar brought LA Noire to Switch, and I felt like that was like a test. But man, if you're going to bring a game, why wouldn't you bring your biggest game?
Yeah.
Like,
God.
Like, why wouldn't you bring your heavy hitter?
Like, talk about a license to print money.
Dude, exactly. Like, man, if they would have put that on the Switch, I think every single person that owned that game would have rebought it. I would have. Yeah. I definitely would have bought it again.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't played Grand Theft Auto 5 in forever, but I probably would have as well.
I would have loved to sit there in handheld mode and just, play with,
Well, that's like the perfect road game. It's the perfect game to bring on a trip with you because you can have so much fun with it.
You better have a headset. That's
yeah.
Because some of that stuff is a little rough. A little rough around the edges.
It's fine. I'm sure everyone on the plane with you will just appreciate.
Oh, I'm sure they'll love
the fine language.
Yes.
In Grand Theft Auto. But to be fair, you can play Night Trap on your Switch and on the plane, and no one cares. So why not Grand Theft Auto?
Did you really have to bring up Night Trap? That game is so bad.
True. I liked the remake of it though.
They fixed should have never been launched in the first place. Should have never been relaunched.
I'm also a really big sucker for FMV games. I can't help it. That's just who I am. Because Sega CD, Bobby.
I know. You had to slip that.
I had
Sega
to get
stuff
it in there once. I also haven't mentioned Bubsy yet either. But Bubsy, that's it. That's the only time I'm going to say it. I love driving you crazy. It's great.
No, you're fine. Yeah, I think that with Game Pass, I think we see some stuff. Have you played Forza Street?
It doesn't exist yet.
Oh, it's not out yet.
No. It hasn't been announced. In fact, we don't even know what is being announced for Forza this year because they haven't announced. They usually announce it every year at E3.
So where did this thing come from?
Apparently, someone found some advertisements, again another advertisement leak.
Okay.
So
basically,
I'm taking it with a grain of salt. But
so essentially,
we know Playground is busy working on their new, what we believe is the new Fable game, but it could be something else. So they won't be working on it. It sounds like either the Turn 10 or someone else is going to be developing this game.
So it'll be a mobile game, and obviously, if it's a mobile game, odds are it'll run on Switch.
Yeah.
I just hope that if it is a mobile game, it's just really good. Like if it's basically Forza Horizon on mobile, man, sign me up. Just all day.
That'd be too good to be true. Because Forza Horizon is amazing.
Oh, that game is so good, man. It really is. Let me think back here. So, I think both Oris are definitely coming. That's a no-brainer.
Because if you're going to bring one, why not bring the first one?
What's your thoughts on? Because I've said this a couple times, and I think it'll happen. But I'm just curious what you think. What about Sea of Thieves?
It's possible. I'm reluctant to always guess that a always online game like Sea of Thieves would come to a platform like Switch. But I mean, you never know. That didn't stop Fortnite.
That's what I was going to say. Fortnite's there, and that's.
But we don't see too many cases of that where it's an always online game. I mean, Tetris 99 is the oddity because it comes with the Switch Online. But there aren't. I'm trying to think off the top of my head of how many Switch games are always online.
So you got Realm Royale. That just came the other day. You have Minecraft, which if
you can play offline though.
But you can also. But it's also if you're in Realms.
Well, it's true.
It's
I'm strictly talking about games that are only online all the time. Okay, because Sea of Thieves is an online-only game.
Yeah. So you got Fortnite. What about Warhammer or whatever that is? That War.
Wargroove?
Wargroove. No, not Wargroove. It's Warhammer or whatever. It's the one.
Yeah. Vermintide?
Yes.
Yeah, that one has an offline mode.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So there's really not a whole lot. Now
that's why I'm trying to think of other cases where it's rare. So it's tough for me to not rare the company, rare that there's online only games. I mean, it's possible, but for that reason, I'm skeptical.
For the most part, Splatoon is online. I mean, it does have its single player campaign and stuff, but for the most part, to play the main function of that game, it's strictly online.
Right.
I don't know. I just think that there's that opportunity.
There's always a chance. I think any of the Microsoft IPs are on the table except for Gears or Halo, like you talked about.
Yeah.
Even Battletoads, which I assume is still coming at some point.
Yeah.
That could even be a Switch game. Because I'm guessing it's still going to be a 2D game.
It's crazy to think that a few years ago, I didn't think any games made sense on Nintendo from Xbox. And now, as we sit here a couple years later, and I'm starting to diagnose it and look at it, and I'm like, there's a lot of games that can actually play on the Switch that are, more or less. And I think that a game like Forza, if this Forza Street does exist and it does happen, I think it makes a lot of sense because it gives Microsoft the ability to then turn around and go, hey, by the way, if you like this game and you want a real meaty version of this, come check out Forza, the true Forza. Because that's a game that's pretty much online most of the time, right?
Yeah.
It does have an offline mode as well, but it does have to sync up as well, doesn't it?
I think you can disable it, but I don't. Okay. I'm not sure off the top of my head. I haven't tried to do it, so that's why I'm not super sure about that.
Yeah, but that game is so good, man. That game It would be incredible to have.
And I mean, even if it's not Forza Street, even if it's Motorsport 8, I think is what they're up to now, I still think even that would be good.
Yeah, no joke.
And would still be really fun.
Yeah.
Another franchise that I think actually makes a lot of sense as well on Switch is Sunset Overdrive. Because that was also a really fun open world game.
Yeah.
It seems like the perfect fit for for the Switch.
Yeah.
But I know it didn't sell well, which is why I'm not assuming it'll come, but that's a game as well where I could definitely see on Switch as well.
But also, I think that Microsoft wants to take games that didn't necessarily sell super well and drop them on the Switch in the hopes that they get a second come up and give it the opportunity to sell a little better on the Switch. We'll see. The one that shocked me that didn't come right away, but it did wind up coming, was Unravel 2. When they announced that last year at E3, I was like, why is this not on Switch right now?
Yeah.
Like, what is wrong with you guys? Like, why wouldn't that be day and date? Doesn't make any sense.
It's EA, though, because EA doesn't support the Switch, although, I mean, maybe FIFA would be back this year?
Why wouldn't you bring The Sims to Switch?
I mean, why wouldn't you bring Madden, one of the biggest games in the world, to Switch?
But I mean, even like Madden, but a game like Sims, like
absolutely.
one of Nintendo's biggest franchises is a simulator game.
Yeah.
Why would you not bring that game? It's on the PS4. It's on Xbox. It doesn't look like it's graphic intensive that it can't run.
Devil's argument, the console versions of that game are terrible. They control really poorly, and I don't know how well it would work on. But I mean, maybe it could work better because they could use the touchscreen to do stuff.
Possible, but to be fair, the the actual computer version controls like trash too.
It controls at least better than the console.
You move your mouse to where you want to move, and you click, and he moves over. Like, come on, so horrible.
Oh, I meant mostly with a big part of The Sims is building your house, or building houses, and that is terrible on the consoles.
Oh, that's bad. That's bad. So, Ryan, thank you so much for coming on and being part of this show. This really was a lot of fun, man. You are a great guest to have on, and we will be doing something in the future again. I assure you that. But real quickly before we go, let everybody know where they can find you and all that good stuff.
Absolutely. So you can always find me on Twitter at Ryan Turford. That's Turford. You can also find me on the Game Moose podcast, usually once a month over on game-moose.com or podcast services of your choice. We're on Spotify and pretty much every podcast service out there. You can also find us on Twitter at game_moose_cast. And that's it. Again, Bobby, this was great. Thank you so much for having me. This was a lot of fun. I always love talking Nintendo with you.
Yes.
Even though we have differing opinions, even though I was a Sega kid, we can still get along. It's all good.
Oh, Lord.
We didn't even talk about Sega Channel today, Bobby.
We don't need to.
I can't believe we didn't.
We don't need to.
Man.
So as we move forward, as we get closer to E3, we'll have more of these shows coming up. I'm hoping the week before E3 to basically have a new show every single day with different predictions and stuff. It's been awesome. So if I haven't reached out to you yet and you're listening to this and you want to be a part of this, reach out to me. I'm trying to get as many people on as I can as we move forward. So Ryan, again, thank you so much for being a part of this. That is all. Peace out, Preston.